Hello, everyone. Nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nubraid. We have some news about there is definitely one spicy champion coming up for the progressive chance for CvC. Lots of news to cover today. We've got a very interesting survey that Raid sent out to some players, but not others. And stay tuned near the end of the video. I will be doing my monthly content creator giveaways courtesy of Plarium. So there'll be 10 winners, 5 getting I think some gems, and then 5 getting gems plus a void shard, which is nice. I do think we're likely to have 2x voids, probably for the next fusion, so it's a good one to grab. Stay tuned to figure out. You can't just enter willy-nilly. You've got to follow what I'm going to tell you. That will be during the survey section, but we'll come to that in a second. First up, CvC is tomorrow. It is not personal rewards, so it's pretty chill. It's going to be a very big deal for my free-to-play. Oh my god, CvC is so good early in the game. I will be doing my CvC stream. So around about when this goes live, at least within the first hour, depending if I sleep in or not, um, we will be streaming for CvC. So I'll see you for that. It's always a great fun time to hang out and to chat. And you can ask me anything, really. And we can talk about it pretty much. So yeah, I'll see you guys for that. We'll probably be hopping because it's pretty chill. We'll probably hop between my main account and my alt account. I probably should mention, actually, for people that will struggle to do CvC point. Obviously, I pulled my stuff on my main. I realized I should have saved my free-to-play Soul Stones for tomorrow, just for some extra CvC points. But yeah, if you're going for this Deck of Fate thing, it's better to do it tomorrow for CvC points, basically. But yeah, that's where we're at. CvC is on now. There will be a 15x, and like I said, there's one very juicy champion. Here we go. Tuesday, the 28th of January, and Wednesday, the 29th. 2 different ones, each event lasting 24 hours. Well, the big one, do you need me to tell you? GNUT. GNUT is one of the best legendaries in the game. He opens up strategies that you otherwise could not do. And I think especially because you do will eventually get Marius. Everyone can get Marius. In fact, Marius is easier to get than Romantu, weirdly enough. Marius is even better than GNUT, in my opinion, probably overall. But you put the two of them together, you've got that double, triple hit enemy max HP. That opens up so many speed farm strategies for dungeons and bosses. It is insane. Yeah, you really, really want a GNUT. So if you don't have a GNUT, this is super tempting. And let me be honest, if I was close to my legendary Mercy, and I mean, like, you know, my ancients, I'd be 150 plus summons without a legendary. Now, that's what I mean about close. But if I was close to legendary Mercy on any of these shard types, even though it's only like a 7% chance, even with the 15x or something like that, maybe 8%, I don't know, to get a GNUT, it's still, you're like 90 plus, 95% even percent chance you will not get GNUT. I think the chance to get GNUT for what he can do for an account, I would still go for it. Now, I've got 2 GNUTs and a Marius, so I'm not going for it. Though, that being said, 3 GNUTs plus Marius, that does open up some fun. Even 4 GNUTs plus Marius, that's some very interesting teams. But no, I'm not going to go for it because I have him, obviously. But if I did not have a GNUT and I was very close to Mercy, I probably would risk it because he is that good. Staltis is good. Valkyrie is good. I feel like Michinaki is good. He's definitely fallen off a bit for me, right? In terms of just there's more options that do what he does. And as my account has gone further, like I've pulsed like a Venus since I got Michinaki, and he does very similar things, you know, blah, blah, blah. So he's not as good as he once was, but he's still good. Wixwell's great, right? Very good for clan boss. These are all good champions. It's hard to rank though. GNUT is so by far the best, and I'd probably go for a second GNUT before going for any of these, to be totally honest. Wixwell, if you're stuck on Demon Lord. Valkyrie is quite nice. She does open up some stuff for Fire Knight, and she's okay for some arena stuff. I don't know. They're all kind of mid. Yeah, none of them are standing out to me, I'll be honest. Then Necret and Tormin, both actually solid. Necret's very good. Tormin, I'd say Tormin is a little less good, but he's still strong. They're both very, very strong in niche uses in PvP, in Arena. You don't pick them in every fight. Like, Tormin is very good against champions that are buffing and speed teams and stuff like that. So there are some fights where Tormin hard carries. That being said, there's some fights where you wouldn't pick him. Same thing with Necret. There's some fights where Necret can protect your damage dealer, any hard carries. And then there's some fights where they've got like a Narcisse or a I don't know. Does Mezamel, does she ignore? I think she ignores the stuff as well and blocks revive. There's champions that just ignore what he's doing or benefit. Narcisse benefits from Nekret's defenses, so that's really bad. But again, in some niche circumstances, he opens up some cool teams. So both of these are good. Again, I would be prepared though for 2x Voids, part of the fusion. Probably. And it's been quite a while as well, I think, since we had a guaranteed Void Legendary. They do like to throw them in every year or every 6 months or to a year. So I'd be more prepared for that. But they are both potential. Narcisse and Clydna then. Narcisse is obviously great. And Clydna is, I would have before said she's useless. I think she's okay now. She does have some potential, I think, for Chimera. But I haven't actually seen anyone use her. It's just a theoretical thing. So I would never, ever recommend, like, there are constant progressive chance events. There's constantly amazing legendaries up for progressive chance events. I would never recommend chasing a theoretically good champion when you can simply wait and pull for a champion that is not only theoretical, but proven to be top tier. With like Narcisse is quite proven to be top tier. Narcisse mostly just arena. But then I think so are Nekret and Torment, really. So yeah, it's not a bad Void one, but I would be inclined to skip. Narcisse is perhaps quite tempting if you do have Ancora. They're a very, very strong combo. Snick Track, Rush Card, Artak, Bivald, and Samson. They're all okay. Artak is, I think, the best one here. And Snick Track is decent as well. I quite like Artak just because he is so good for Ice Golem. And he's also very good for like Spider, Burn Explosion stuff. He's mid sort of game champ for Hydra. He's very good. Probably one of the best login champions ever. This guy is crazy good as a login champion. Like he is my end game account. That's what I use for Ice Golem, which we just done at Ice Golem tournament, right? I use Artak. He solos the boss. The dude's insane. It's hard to gear him to do that, of course, but you can very easily duo. And like if they ever add more levels to Ice Golem, which will happen probably sometime this year, I'd expect more hard levels for dungeons. It's been a while. Artak with, I don't know, Elva or something like that. I think it's gonna cruise through even if they do level 20 hard Ice Golem. I reckon he still cruises through. Maybe it'll be the wrong affinity. I don't know. But yeah, that's sort of what I think about this one. GNUT or nothing is kind of my vibe. Let me know though what you think about that. But that's sort of my vibe. GNUT or nothing. Right then, we also have, and I'll tell you how to do the giveaway. And give me 1 sec to get that info up. Okay, simple enough. So we got to go scroll down through a couple of bits, and then I think on step number 3, I'll explain how to join in. So here we go. Name the faction you'd most like to join. This is quite interesting. Any of the factions, and it certainly a tease. I saw Boozor was speculating, ooh, maybe they're asking all about these factions because Faction War update is incoming. Perhaps the final faction, quote unquote final. I don't know if it will be the final, but we're clearly missing. At least one faction is missing, and then there could still be more after that. Who knows, right? Faction I'd most like to join for me: Shadowkin, Knight Revenant, and then maybe Sacred Order would be my top 3. I love the Shadowkin aesthetic. The Knights Revenant, again, I love their aesthetic as well, and I love their champions. They're just a very strong faction too, and that was a faction I picked for the old Deadwood Jedi faction games. I was Knights Revenant, so they're close to my heart. And Sacred Order, I actually studied like history and religion in college for my undergrad degree, so I feel compelled to pick the Sacred Order. Favorite faction if I had to pick one faction I would most like to join, I'd probably pick Knight Revenant. Like Shadowkin is super cool, but like I'm not Asian, so I don't feel like I super fit in, right? I'll go Knight Revenant. I guess I'm not dead either, but hey, you never know. I will be dead one day. It's unlikely I'll ever be Asian. What's your favorite raid faction in terms of design and aesthetics? Again, Knights Revenant or Shadowkin probably be up there. I quite like some of the Sacred Order. I think are quite bland, honestly, but then some of them are really cool. I'll say, let's go. Are we double? Yes, double vote Knights Revenant. Let's go. Yeah, Knights Revenant are super cool. What's your favorite game mode in raid? Okay, so this is where I'll get you guys to join in, right? I am going to now. Here, let's be very clear. This is my personal opinion. I will give you for my end game account, and then also on my brand new, what's it, 2.5 week old, free to play 2025 challenge account, I'm going to rate all of the areas of this game, my personal thoughts, personal, on these areas on both accounts. And it's very different, I think, on both accounts. What I want you to do, if you want to join the giveaways, is to do the same thing. Now, you don't need to do it for 2 accounts, just do it for your opinion in general. You could even specify how far into the game you are. It'd be quite cool. Be like, I'm a 2-year player. I am a 6-month player. My rankings for each area. And then, so you can actually be entered to win, come over here. Where is it? Info. Info, you need to copy your number into your comments. So leave your comments with your number. Again, the number can't be used for anything nefarious. Literally, the only purpose for this is for Plarium to know which account is yours, and they can send you stuff for the giveaway. And like I said, there'll be 10 winners. 5 will be getting, I think it's 540 gems. And then another 5 will get the 540 gems and a void shard. Maybe they get an epic skill tome as well. I'm not sure. I know that, speaking of the free-to-play challenge, I know content creators are not allowed to use those bonuses for their free-to-play challenge, but I think community members maybe can. I'm not sure. Double check that. Use it on your main anyway. But yeah, let's go in, because I think this is really interesting. Your favorite game mode. We'll come back to my favorite one. I guess I'll pick my favorite by comparing the rankings. Okay, so for end game, how would I rank this stuff on my end game account? Campaign, F tier. I almost never rank anything. I oftentimes in my polls, because there's usually like 4 or 5 options maximum, I don't even include an F tier. Campaign for me, though, is F tier. I almost never rank anything F tier. F tier, for me, I'm going to say there's a D tier. D tier has almost no positive value whatsoever. In fact, no positive value. D tier doesn't bring anything positive to my experience for the game. F tier is worse than that. Not only does it not bring anything positive, it actively makes the game worse. That is endgame campaign. It is a waste of time. It's just a mindless grind, and there's plenty of stuff to mindlessly grind. It's, yeah, this is F tier. The game would be better off endgame if this did not exist. Cool. Classic Arena. Likewise, F tier. This was maybe controversial, but again, I think there's tons of arena modes in the game, endgame. Classic Arena is a boring, mindless grind. I just basically put in a meme defense and go win every fight. No interest in Platinum Arena. And yeah, for me, this just makes the game worse. Like if this didn't exist and they just baked the rewards in elsewhere, the game would be better. Live Arena, I'm going to give this an A tier. I think this is, in my opinion, the best arena mode. It still has big flaws. It's not S tier. The biggest problem with Live Arena is pay-to-win game, right? That's the biggest problem. So I find Live Arena extremely fun when I'm playing against an account that has clearly been playing for a similar amount of time to me and has spent a similar amount of money. It's not really very fun when you're playing against someone that's earlier game and spent less money, though at least you win, but it's still not fun. And then it's super unfun when you're playing against someone that's coming in with a bunch of empowered 6-star crazy voids and mythicals, and you're like, okay, they've spent tens, possibly hundreds of thousands more than me. Great, fun game. That's not fun at all. So yeah, that's sort of the main problem with Live Arena, is just finding fair matches. I think when there are fair matches, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's the best arena mode by far, giving it an A. Demon Lord Endgame is a D. Again, I think other people will rate it a lot higher because of the rewards. Again, I'm looking at this more in terms of gameplay. And for me, the Demon Lord gameplay, Endgame, there's no gameplay. It's just autocomplete done. It's a loot pinata, and it's nice to get it every day. But that's about it. There's no positive gameplay, and if they just baked the rewards, if Demon Lord, I mean, basically doesn't exist, right? It basically, for my account, it basically doesn't exist. It's just a loot pinata to click every day. Just bang, give me the loot, cool, job done. No positive gameplay, just loot. Hydra, I will still give Hydra an A. I would have ranked Hydra an S in the past. I think the Hydra nerfs made it less fun and lowering the community interest as well. The community hates the Hydra changes. They're not as interested in Hydra content anymore, so that's a bit depressing as a content creator. Also, there's also the thing, it is old content. Hydra, so they made it worse. Even if we ignore the fact that they made it worse, why? Even if we ignore that fact, it had otherwise been unchanged for, what, almost 2 years? 3 years, maybe? That's 3-year-old content. It is old content. You can only maintain interest in so long. That being said, it is still, for me, overall, the best boss ever added to the game. But yeah, it's just not an S tier because it's older content at this point, and they also made it worse recently. Chimera, the new boss, I will give it an A. It's not S tier content for me. Chimera it's fun, it's interesting, it's a challenge. I think the downside for me, definitely, if I compare it to Hydra at Hydra's best, Hydra, a lot more flexibility with your teams because you've got effectively 3 teams of 6 champions, and considering all the synergies between them, it's one of the best things for me for Hydra that made it S tier was so many permutations of, oh, I got a new champion, okay, then I can swap them into this team, but then I can switch up this team, and like it is so complex and so much variety. With Chimera, I just sort of use the same team. I've used the same team for every rotation, for every fight. There's no variety. And it is a little bit tedious having to manual it. So Chimera is okay. I think now the honeymoon period has worn off for me. I'm like, it's A. Yeah, I think it's like a good clan boss. We'll see how it goes in the future, but it's sort of inherently there's not a lot of variety compared to I think Hydra was a better boss overall than Chimera is overall. Dungeons, I'd say dungeons are like a B end game. They're like, they're fine, right? It's fun setting up the speed farm teams. And then when they're set up, you just farm them and job done. I've really enjoyed the event dungeon. Like doing that every time is enjoyable. Yeah, dungeons are cool. I think for end game, dungeon bosses can never be that crazy because if they're really challenging, like they can't be as challenging as a Hydra. You have to be able to speed farm a dungeon. It's sort of the whole point of it. And sort of the fun is building speed farm teams. Like they can't be too hard, and they can't take too long, which sort of limits what the dungeons can do. But I'd say it'd be Faction Wars is a D right now. Again, this is going to be updated soon. But again, this is really just grind it out. Maybe it's a C. I'll put it as a C. At least it's kind of interesting when I get a new champion. Ooh, can I build a new speed farm team for Faction Wars? That's somewhat engaging. Doom Tower is a D. That's just tedious grind. It was very fun back in the now it's just like autocomplete everything. It's just a waste of time. Maybe even put that F tier content. It's just a waste of time. Siege, can't wait for background battles for that nonsense. Siege, I'll give it a B. Siege, it's got potential. It's somewhat interesting. But reality is there's barely any content in there at the moment. Like I do one fight, if even, per siege. I set up my defenses. They don't get attacked much. Yeah. Maybe we put siege as a C. Put siege as a C. And Cursed City, I give Cursed City a B. Cursed City, again, there's some stages are interesting. Some stages are very frustrating. So it's quite a mix between great content and bad. So there you go. There's some of my rankings. Hydra, Chimera, and Live Arena. Not really a surprise. They are sort of the end game areas. Doom Tower, Campaign, Classic Arena are just old content, simple enough. So yeah, not really surprised. Same thing with Demon Lord is old content. Faction Wars, same thing. So yeah, just sort of a bunch of content I've beaten, and then yeah. If I come over to my free to play, it's quite different. Campaign, I'd say, is probably like an A. It's kind of progressing. Nightmare Campaign is kind of interesting. It's pretty fun. It is a big grind, but I think it's quite enjoyable. Classic Arena, ooh, is maybe a C, honestly. Classic Arena is tricky. So you obviously do have, at this point in the game, I do get some challenging fights, but like Silver was no problem, really. It's like mostly cruise through. Then I'm stuck now in Gold, and Gold Classic Arena is miserable. It's really horrible. The fights are way too hard. So yeah, the matchmaking is a complete disaster. Bronze and Silver, way too easy. Gold, way too hard. Yeah, it's not good, but it's at least you can get some interesting fights and there's some interesting gameplay, but it's just kind of horrible. Live Arena, haven't unlocked it yet. Demon Lord, I guess it's an A. I think other people might rank Demon Lord as an S. I think it's very basic. It's fine. Yeah, I think it's good. Like, it's cool that it's like the big boss. How far can I get? Building up your team. I mean, there's not really, at this point, for me in the free-to-play challenge, there's not much building up. It's just, use the same 5 champions everywhere in the same gear because I've got no silver. So, there's not much actual gameplay. It's fine. Demon Lord is good, though. I think it's good. Hydra, I give that a D, honestly. So I've unlocked Hydra. Can't do it. It's too difficult. I mean, I've got 4 level 60s. You need 3 teams. You need 18 level 60s and good ones for Hydra. So Hydra unlocks bizarrely early. Doesn't make any sense. Why does it unlock so early? It's stupid. Chimera? I think Chimera would be an A, probably an A as well. I think it's very similar to Demon Lord, really, except it's a lot more complex, which I like, but other people might not. But yeah, very similar to like it's basically throwing in the same team, but there's more gameplay to Chimera. I'd say Chimera is actively better than Demon Lord, actually. It's just Demon Lord, but better. Yeah, I think it's Demon Lord, but better for an early game account. I'm demoting Demon Lord to... Now, I'll leave it at A, but I will say Chimera is better. Dungeons, honestly, dungeons probably get an S. Early game dungeons are super cool. You're progressing through all the different stages, building up your teams. There's a huge variety. Dungeons are top tier content. Super good. Really, really love the dungeon so far. Faction Wars. Faction Wars, this early in the game, I think early game Faction Wars is like a C. I think mid game Faction Wars is an S, and I think end game, what's I give it? It goes back to a C. That's interesting. Faction Wars was some of my favorite content in the entire game, but you need to be far enough to actually have champions and stuff to be able to do it. Right now, there's some min-maxing you can do, but very little, so it's kind of a C. Doom Tower, I probably would give it an S as well. Like, yeah, interesting wave stuff. The bosses are a cool challenge. It's fun progressing up. How far can I get? Doom Tower is really good, even free to play, because you can actually do Doom Tower normal. You can actually do it. That's good. Siege we have unlocked, but we haven't. It hasn't started yet. That doesn't start for a week. And then I haven't unlocked Cursed City. Wild predictions, I'd say Live Arena is probably gonna be too hard, but probably like a C or a D. Probably the same as Classic, probably a C. I'm guessing Siege will also probably be a C. And Cursed City will I don't know. Cursed City actually has some potential early game. That might be A tier content. I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea how hard it's going to be, but Cursed City is basically Doom Tower 2. They're kind of the same. Just there's less new stuff in Cursed City. It's just like recycling the bosses, but it's basically Doom Tower again. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on it. So what's my favorite area? Dungeons looking pretty all right. Across the two of them, Chimera, probably. Yeah, it looks like Chimera comes out the highest. Chimera wins across both accounts. That's interesting. Chimera wins both accounts. Live Arena probably for my main account, and Dungeons for my free-to-play, but across the two, Chimera, it has the broadest appeal. Cool. How do you build your teams for specific... again, reminder, guys, give me your own list with your UM number to enter the giveaway. How do you build your teams for specific challenges? Use my best 4 to 5 champions and brute force it. That's the free-to-play free-to-play experience because, I mean, whatever, level 60 Alice, there's no way that she gets beaten by even a super top-tier champ that's level 1 3-star, eh? That's the free-to-play way. Pick champions with the best skills to counter the challenge ahead. That would be the main, I think. Pick my usual champs but change their gear. That sounds like a hassle. Experiment with champions I haven't used often. That can somewhat overlap with number 2, but it's not the main goal. Hardcore all the way. I intentionally pick epic and rare champions to make the challenge harder. No. Pick champions with the best skills to counter the challenge ahead. Name the boss you could take in a real-life fight. Wow. They would, I mean, let's be honest, you would die horribly against all of these. There's no way. Minotaur, you might have the most chance, but you'd still die. Astronix, the Dark Fae, I think. You know, bring a few of your mates. She'll clone your mates. It won't be like champions with magic spells and swords and shit. It'll just be Bob from down the road. You might have a bit of a chance. She just chop you in half with laser beams, but maybe. Name the content creator with the funniest thumbnails. Big Papa Drock. He's got top tier thumbnails. If you could only use one champ for the rest of your time in Raid, who would it be? Hierophant Lazarius or Marius the Gallant? Ooh, okay. If I have to pick one, I suppose we should only pick one. Lazarius is like support and damage on lockdown. He's mythical. He's like probably my favorite champ to play with. Marius is just confirm. I mean, I'll go Lazarius. Marius would be a really strong pick as well, though, because like Marius can just do so much. That being said, if you can only use one champion, there's not really a point to playing Raid, is there? Just quit the game at that point. What's the most satisfying moment you get in Raid? Ooh, beating a tough boss. Summoning a new legendary or mythical champion. Most satisfying moment. Completing a difficult dungeon. Upgrading a champion to rank 6. Defeating a powerful opponent in arena. Just winning in the arena in general. Collecting the best gear. Beating a boss with a unique or unconventional team. This is actually really interesting. Beating a tough boss, fairly satisfying. That being said, oftentimes they can be also kind of annoying. Let's say Bommel. Bommel's a tough boss. Not really fun to beat Bommel or satisfying. It's just more like, thank God it's over. So that's a bit mixed. Summoning a new legendary or mythical, yes, 100%. I mean, well, if they suck, it's bad, but yeah, 100%. Getting a new good champion is always super satisfying. You're like, yes, how many areas of this game? This is gonna like improve my teams, help me push further, do some cool stuff. I get to build them, have fun, theory craft. It's really the core of the game. Probably gonna be this. Let's be real. Completing a difficult dungeon. Fun on the free to play, satisfying for the free to play. Later in the game, I would say no. Just there's a fundamental, in my opinion, there's a fundamental design problem there where dungeons can't be that difficult because they're things you're supposed to farm. So you know, if it's too hard, you can't farm it. So yeah, it can't be that crazy difficult, like game. But it's pretty fun though. I have to say that's pretty good. Beating a difficult dungeon is pretty up there. Upgrading a champ to rank 6, not satisfying at all. Again, that's just like, thank God the tedious grind is over. Like even on my free to play, it's just shit I've got to do. I get zero satisfaction from having a champ rank 6. It's just like, okay, this is busy work that had to be done, and thank God it's over. Defeating a powerful opponent in the arena, that's pretty satisfying. You know, you beat the Kraken, that's not paying attention. You're like, hey, yeah, cool. That feels good. Winning in the arena in general, yeah, I mean, in live arena, it's like, yes, thank God I got my wins. That feels pretty satisfying when you get your wins. Doesn't really matter who against in live arena. You just want to win, really, to get your rewards. I mean, it doesn't feel that good to beat someone that's clearly an earlier game account than yours or a lower spender. Beating them is like, okay, well, I mean, I paid to win. I won. Who cares? That's not particularly satisfying. I probably prefer you know, again, the downside of defeating a powerful opponent is like, I don't want to play the Krakens, thank you, in arena. Like, I don't want to be at a disadvantage in arena. That is fundamentally unfun. I don't know. Collecting the best gear, also super fun. Beating a boss, a unique or unconventional team, that's definitely fun for a content creator. I guess it's fun for people in general, but not that common. I definitely think for me, collecting gear and building champions, extremely fun. Getting new champions that will make a difference to your team and building and theory crafting, super fun. I'd say the dungeons. Yeah, I'd say those would be my top 3. If Raid had an in-game dating event, which character would be your date? Oh, I just got her in my free-to-play. It's got to be Lady Anna Boobs. Go on a date with her. I mean, the fingers and I guess also the blood dripping off is a bit disturbing. But other than that, if you cut off her arms, she'd be a great date. I mean, I think you could say that about any date, really. Yeah, any date. Chop off their arms and they'd be just improved. Lady Anna Boobs. Cool. If you could collaborate with any content creator for a raid video, who would it? You know what? I must reach out to Colred. I think Colred's been doing collabs with everyone for the free-to-play challenge. It would be fun to do a collab with Colred. Make him part of the content creator program if he wants to be. He should be. I don't think he's not in the content creator program. Like Saf. I'm not sure if there's others that obviously deserve to be in the content creator program but are not. Yeah, maybe others. Where would you go if you planned a vacation to one of Raid's dungeons? Ocean Keeps, Iron Twins Fortress, Minotaur's Labyrinth. That sounds horrible. Same with the Iron Twins Fortress, just stuck on a lift. Ice Golem's Peak, Spider's Den, no. Event Dungeon, Dragon's Lair, Fire Knight's Castle, Sand Devil's Necropolis, Phantom Shogun, Scrub. I'm assuming the enemies won't be there. It's just you get to go hang out. I'd say Sand Devil's Necropolis. I'm going on a holiday to Egypt. Cool. See some see some history, some pharaohs and tombs and stuff. I'm assuming the Sand Devil wouldn't be there. It'd be bloody shit if he was. If he's not there, it'd be fun. What Solarian creatures would make good pets? Oh my god. Spiderlings, demon spawn hounds, frost spider, chimera, the celestial griffin, and hydra. These are all terrible pets. The bottom four, I mean, come on, hydra. In the back garden, it's my hydra. Nah, they're all too big. It's either the hounds or the spiderlings. Spiderlings are just horrible. I'd say the hounds, right? They probably, you would hope, would share some. I mean, they might have personality characteristics like a normal dog. Maybe they're lovely. I don't know. Maybe they're horrible, but they have the best chance. The spiderlings maybe as well. Just stick them in a glass box and pour some food down a thing, and you'd be like, fine, just avoid them. I'll say demon spawn hounds probably. Other than Galek, what champion could be a raid? Now that's an interesting question. Other than Galek, what champion could be a raid mascot? How about Ronda Rousey? Raid mascot. I do think Stag Knight, maybe, though he has a helmet on. Stag Knight has some potential. I think they have used Zargala before for some stuff. I think Zargala, she's super similar to Galek though, but she has a lot of potential. I think she's already been a mascot. I think the mascot, it wants to be someone that looks cool and is relatable. Arbiter is, I think, not. She's sort of a mascot, but not the main mascot. Oh, you know what? Who'd be a great mascot? Trunda. Trunda is a perfect mascot. Super unique, badass design. Sort of their version of Thor in a way, female Thor. You could also use Thor. Thor would be a really good mascot for Raid as well. Super badass. There's not that many. I'm like a typical mascot. I'm thinking like Cloud Strife sort of thing. Just a guy with a huge, I mean, Turvold, he's been sort of a mascot, but he's not, he's more of like a giant. He's not super relatable. Like a sort of relatable, cool guy with a big sword. There's not that many, actually. Siegfried could be, potentially, depending if he took his helmet off or they could swap between him. Siegfried could be cool. I actually think Carnage would be pretty cool as well. He's not super relatable, but he's pretty cool, and he could do like the whole mythical transformation in a trailer or something. Be pretty freaking badass. He looks awesome. There's not a ton. Talia? Talia, now Talia'd be pretty good. She's got big sword, looks cool, pretty. That's a pretty good win. Phoenix, hey, maybe. There's not that many that are, again, Godseeker's kind of cool, but she's a bit too scary. Not that many, like, just cool dude with a sword. Like, just simple, straightforward, which is kind of weird now I think of it. Am I missing anyone obvious? I feel like there's not that many, just simple, badass-looking dude with a cool sword. Neldor, kinda, but yeah, like, no typical mate. There's not really a typical protagonist type character. Yeah, strange. I mean, Sir Nicholas, Santa Claus. Falmond, but he's bald. He looks too much like a space marine. You can't do that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit stuck. Guys, let me know what you think. I would say Trunda. Trunda is my real answer. I think Trunda or Thor are, I think, my best two. There you go. So, they're my answers, guys. Let me know your answers and stuff in the thing down below. But yeah, that's sort of what I would vote. It's a fun thing. I don't know what useful information they're going to get from this, but I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, there we go, guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you for the CvC stream tomorrow, and see y'all next time. Goodbye.